Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is me, Preacher Mars, the host of the SOS Shout-Out Show. Hope that you are having a fabulous Thursday. We say Thursday. Why are we so happy about Thursday? Because it's located next to Friday on a Memorial Day weekend. You know, this is our last telecast of the week, and we will see you back on the set on Monday. But I just want to make sure everybody is in good places. We have Sister Tanya joining us today. We hope you're having some productive lessons with the Arabic, as we've been talking about it while you weren't on the show. We've been just calling out our collective support for you and cheering you on to do well with the Arabic as well. Sister Janice Tuff is out of the hospital. As you know, she was recovering from a hip replacement and it went a little left. She had to spend a little bit of time there, and she's telling everybody she's out of the hospital and wanting everybody to know that your du'as work. Now, on top of that, we want to give a shout out to Brother Salahuddin. Brother Bilal Salahuddin and his wife, Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin, excuse me. They are not on the ship because they do not have Wi-Fi because they are in the Caribbean. They sent me a very nice message from Nassau, Bahamas, and some of that Wi-Fi is not good. They joined us a couple times, but we understand that you are having a vacation, so it's okay. Enjoy yourself. This show, brothers and sisters, is going to be a little bit lighter. So as we go to the break and start the show like we normally do, why don't you start thinking about some of the films that made you smile? Now, I will give you full disclosure. While I was a broadcast journalism major, I was a film minor. So I got to watch a lot of film and fell into the whole idea of filmmaking and narratives and all those type of things. So I'm going to be talking about some of the films that made me smile. And I'm going to encourage everybody to not only tell us some of the films that made you smile, but tell us why. Get in the comment section, get into the argument, get into the conversation, if you will. Like I said, this is one of those days. We've had really a rough couple of weeks here. And not to depart from all the things that are going on in the world. Shout out and prayers to everybody down there in Uvalde, Texas, and Buffalo. We needed it to be a little bit lighter. We needed to be a little bit lighter. I switched up yesterday. The topic yesterday was supposed to be war. What is it good for? I actually switched over to trying to remember and talk about the second anniversary of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis. So I hope you don't mind. Thursdays, I want to reserve for us just kind of having a little lighter conversation, a little bit of banter going into the weekend. I want us to we do cover a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. We cover a lot of things, but what's important is, in the end, we're about what makes us feel good and getting to the core, what makes us feel good and sharing that feeling as much as we can. I'm not saying I'm happy-go-lucky all the time. I'm just jumping up, clicking my heels like a black leprechaun. I'm not doing that. But I do understand the importance of pause. And pause means being able to stop and appreciate some of the things that are around you. I'm no different. Good days, bad days, up, down. But for this show, for this particular platform, if you will, in the format, it does need to be a little bit of balance. And I'm aspiring to bring a little bit of more balance to the show. Shout out to anybody that saw the show yesterday. We had one of those comments that slip in. Normally I let it go, but I'm like, I can't even let it go because to do so, what in some regards, in my estimation, just kind of downplay or make light of what we really deal with out there. The person who came in and called me a race pimp and a coward because I didn't talk about black abortion. I'm like, first of all, it's not that kind of show. Second of all, those are personal issues. If you have those issues that you want to discuss, get your own platform. And fourth of all, if you will, this is my show. I do what the hell I want to do. All right. So look, sit back, get ready, and I'm going to talk about some of the greatest films in the world, in my estimation. I'm asking you in question that you talk about some of the greatest films in your estimation, because the world does not revolve around Preacher Marx's perspectives. So between now and the break, when we come back, and short, definitely giving out our shout outs to everybody in the shout out section and the shout out atmosphere, if you will. Start thinking about some of the things that make you feel. There were some cartoons and animations that cracked me up when I was a kid that were actual movies. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the SOS on this Thursday edition, the Memorial Day edition of the SOS. We'll be right back. Don't you move. All right, and we are back. But before we get into the crux of the conversation today and talk about these movies, let's make sure we recognize our stars in the building. Today, without further ado, we're going to introduce Sister Reed. Sister Reed is in Oklahoma City tuning in with us. We hope that you are having a good time with your hubby. And shout out to brother, young Dewan, the son. And hope you come back and we see if we. And thank you so much for tuning into the show. I mean, I know you have things to do, and just like everybody in the Shout Out Show family, have things to do, and I really appreciate it when you come on. I talked about this earlier in the week. I meant it, and I'm going to make sure all of you feel appreciated. All right. Sister Reed saying hello, family. Not just me, but whole hello, family. Next up, Author Fashib. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, our Canadian ambassador to the show, better known as Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, because he's always on the platform. I don't know if you guys had problems getting on to the show. There were some things that were going on with StreamYard. I guess maybe I'll investigate after the show. If there was any difficulty, let me apologize, because Sister Tanya and I were trying to work these things out. Sometimes it just happens. You know, the sound goes up, the video picture's not right. But, you know, this is part of live streaming. Live streaming means you're going to have live problems. So never feel bad. Just be blessed to be able to have a good team to help you focus and be calm and get things back on track. Next up, we got Sister Mary Moss, better known as Mama Son. Let me tell y'all something. Yesterday, you may not have known this, but we had relatives over at my Aunt Maxine, of course, the proprietor of Be Financially Independent, her daughter Jamie, her son-in-law Kendrick. We had Miss Eleanor in the house. We had Mr. Alexander from across the street. All right, brothers and sisters, we had a crab feast. So shout out to the people that made our crab cakes at Jerry Seafood. We're not giving them an endorsement because I had to pay for it. It wasn't free. But I have long made the point that those are my favorite crab cakes. And Satana, if once you graduate, I'm going to send you some Jerry's crab cakes for your graduation. I'm serious, because they ship all over the country. So I'm going to send you some. I shouldn't have said that, because some people are going to be like, well, ship me some. No, that's going to be out of your iftar budget. That's for next year's iftar budget. So, and potatoes. Okay, good. Oh, look who we got in here. We got Brother Bilal Salahuddin, all the way from Nassau. Brother, I just talked about you and your queen not tuning in because you're on a nice boat in Nassau. I guess you got a hold of some Wi-Fi, man. Good to see you. Let us know how that trip is going, bro. You tuned in. The name of our show is Films That Made You Smile. So you and Sister Sonia figure out some of your favorite films, okay? We got a shout out, of course. And I just want to shout out. We had a great time. We stayed here. In fact, we started eating early. They didn't leave like 9 o'clock. We had a great time. So just shout out to everybody that came to 5804 Crab Feast last night. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Now, thank you. There you go, Sister Tana. People just wishing you all kind of good luck. All kind of good luck. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, man, we got a full plate here. So I'm going, Brother Eric. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But E, you didn't tell us what you ate for iftar, man. I mean, I want to know what you did with your iftar budget, brother. You know, You go to halal Popeyes, or did you go get some ingredients and make what you want? You got to let us know what you ate. In fact, I think everybody that got something for iftar should tell us what you spent what did you buy in terms of food for your iftar. Satana, did we go through that? We didn't ask people what they purchased, did they? All right, well, I'm gonna tell you what my mom purchased. Mary Moss, she purchased Red Lobster, and she made me order it on Uber. It was the most painful thing I've ever had to do. I can't stand Red Lobster, but she was like, "I want Red Lobster," so couldn't say anything because that's her budget. Sister Tanya, you didn't tell us what you ate. Brother Bilal sent a picture of his. He had deep dish pizza because he was in Chicago. Everybody's coming through with their movies. Oh, you had Indian food. Okay, all right. That just leaves. I'll talk. I think you told me what you had, but I forgot. Eric, you're the last person, but we'll get to that. So today's topic is films that made you smile. Now, I'm going to run down, maybe I can do it category wise. I see some in here already. Of course, being a comedian, comedies are the ones that made me laugh the most. And I grew up in the space of blaxploitation, and we used to have the comedies with blaxploitation. So I won't go into the Dolomite stuff because I don't want nobody to get upset. But I grew up with Dolomite. I did grow up with Dolomite. I grew up Petey Wheatstraw, those films that kids weren't supposed to be watching. But my comedies were, and I'm Uptown Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again was some of the funniest films I saw, and it was clean with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier. I think Sidney Poitier directed the last one out of that series, Uptown Saturday Night. Do It Again. There was a third one I can't remember. I don't know why I can't remember, but classic films. And of course, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor comes into his own with his comedy films. Silver Streak. He had a series, 3 of them with Gene Wilder. Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, and Hear No Evil, See No Evil. But I mean, by Hear No Evil, See No Evil, it wasn't that funny. But I'm telling you, if you saw Richard Pryor in Stir Crazy and you saw him in Silver Streak, but you also caught him in films like Car Wash and his Epic. I'm not hating on Eddie Murphy. Not at all. I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan. But the person came up with all those different faces before they had all the prosthetics. It was Richard Pryor in a film called Which Way Is Up. Sorry, Mom, I saw Which Way Is Up when I was really young, and I wasn't over the age of 17. And I watched it a lot of times. I thought it was a really funny film. Okay, Which Way Was Up. It actually took some of his Mutboat characters and the preacher characters that will be on his record, and he put them in a film, and it was the funniest film magic I'd seen in a long, long, long time. Because there were other films that were out that weren't as funny. Red Fox had Hey Norman, Is That You? But you also had Cotton Comes to Harlem, Come Back Charleston Blues. So you had all the films coming out of out of that. Let me hear what some of your films were. I see that my favorite film, Harlem Nights, because the period clothes. Okay, autos, and most of all, blacks won over whites by outthinking whites and blacks working together. Okay, I like that. Harlem, I'll take Harlem Nights. Sister Tanya, you have one? Okay, we might have to bring Sister Tanya into the stream here in a minute. Bilal second my motion. He said that we were having. What was his film? Did you put his film up? His comment about what film he liked? Let's Do It Again. Yeah. Now, people say, why do you say that film? This is why I watched Sidney Poitier. Y'all ready? This is why I watched Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier employed Richard Pryor in the original Uptown Saturday Night. That was one. And two, he brought in people like John Amos. He had a plethora of characters. I thought they were amazing characters. But and I have to move on. One of my favorite films of all times that I actually purchased. You know how you have buy, rent? I bought this film, and it was shortly after his death because I couldn't bootleg it anyplace else. Let's just be honest. If I could watch it for free, I'd watch it for free. One of my favorite films is a period piece, and I have a couple period pieces. So start thinking about your favorite period piece. My mother said comedy, Harlem Nights. Okay, the funniest scene in Harlem Nights, I'm sorry, is Della Reese and Red Fox cussing each other out. That is priceless. I could watch that every time. Plus the scene where Eddie Murphy is fighting Della Reese in that alley. I don't care what you say, Eddie Murphy, Della Reese, whoop Joe. All right, there you go. But my favorite period piece involving black folks. Here we go. Why look at my salon for too about the cop JT? We're talking about films that made you smile, sir. One of my favorites, my favorite. Really one of the originals. So let me go to one of the originals. I'll keep it out. Hold on a moment. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to switch. Give me just a minute. I got a quick emergency. Just give me a minute. Hey, babies! Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear Don't Get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe. And your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right. I apologize, everybody. I had to take care of a little thing. You know, like I said, it's live. When you have an emergency, you have an emergency. Okay, so we're talking about films. I see Althoff has tuned. He's chimed in terms of comedy. His favorite comedy film that made him smile. He enjoyed Beverly Hills Cop series. You like all of them because they're gonna have a Beverly Hills Cop 4 upcoming. The lieutenant made that film. The lieutenant that yelled at Axel, that was an actual policeman, believe it or not. So we're gonna move off comedy a little bit. One of my favorite films. It's actually it's a black and white film. I can't even remember the name of the film now. So Tanya, I forgot the name of the film with Paul Robeson. Oh my God, somebody help me. Emperor Jones. Woo! I thought I was losing it. The Emperor Jones with Paul Robeson, one of the best films. It has a little humor in it. It has a great storyline. It's interesting because that far back when they were making films, they really developed these complex characters with these black actors. And as I go through these things, you guys are gonna understand the theme. Somebody brought this up to me. I was talking about working with a documentary, and it was kind of funny actually that this person pointed out in my act. But Emperor Jones, great film. Sidney Poitier's first directorial debut was Buckin the Preacher. And I want everybody to get a chance. I was going into this before I had the little emergency. You got to watch Buckin the Preacher because it is some of the most dynamic storytelling you're ever going to see, because you forget that there were blacks in the Western pioneer movement. And Sidney Poitier plays sort of like a guide that takes freed blacks right after slavery, takes freed blacks to, free land. But they run across the same theme that's in a lot of black films, even in black comedy, is the fact that the African-American experience is so framed around dealing with authority. And I realized that even Which Way Is Up, Car Wash, Harlem Nights, Let's Do It Again, maybe not so much Let's Do It Again, but Emperor Jones, it is African-Americans, Native Americans having to deal with authority. And it is a maddening thing that you watch it. One of the first films that ever came out, I don't want to say ever came out, that's not true. Melvin Van Peebles, his epic film, it's a national treasure now. Sweetback's badass song. Great song. I know it was required viewing for the Black Panthers back in the day, but it was a black man trying to deal with white oppression. And the verite of it, the cuts, the jump cuts, the way it was filmed. He didn't have money. This is a beautiful story. He didn't have money. They refused to make his film. He had a 3-picture deal. They refused to make his film. He raised money. Guess who gives him the last $50,000? Bill Cosby gives him the last $50,000. And because of that, it becomes a classic. Like if you watch black film or you want to get into black, you've got to watch this. You got to know your history. And you got to watch Buckin the Preacher. Okay. Here's a good one. Blazing Saddles. Oh my gosh. Blau. How could I forget that one, man? Mongo, Wiener Schnitzel. I am so good and they are so dumb. When Cleavon Little pulled the gun on himself, I don't know if I'm pulling all these out because I watch these things. Blazing Saddles is yours too? Okay. I gotta put Did you guys know that the person who played the sheriff was not supposed to be Cleavon Little? You know who it's supposed to be, right? Who is it supposed to be? I'm giving a minute. Who was supposed to play the original sheriff in Blazing Saddles? I'm giving a minute. Are we close? I can't believe we're Satana. We're already at 23 minutes already. Does anybody know who it was? Bill Cosby. No, it was not Bill Cosby. Anybody else? Now I got to get the drum roll. Time. It was supposed to be Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was supposed to play that role. And Richard Pryor he was uncredited as a writer on Blazing Saddles that he wrote with Mel Brooks. But he was an uncredited writer of Mel Brooks, and he really petitioned to be in Blazing Saddles, but because of his stand-up, they said he was too dirty for Blazing Saddles, and as a result, he didn't get to be in Blazing Saddle. And sadly enough, it really triggered him in terms of drug addiction and things like that. This is something I really wanted. But again, what are you dealing with? Oppression and authority in Hollywood. Okay, what's your favorite musical? I know my favorite musical. What's your favorite musical? Okay, I'm going to give you my first favorite musical when I was a kid. It has to be West Side Story. Okay? West Side Story is what I saw in terms of music, dance, the whole, Sound of Music. Okay. When you're a jet all the way from. Let's see, I know all the songs. When you're a jet all the way. I know I memorized that stuff. Okay, but here's the one you may not remember. This is one of the best ones ever. You ready? Satana, you ready? Everybody? Stormy Weather. Stormy Weather was really the first black musical that came out with Bilbo Jenkins Robinson and oh my gosh, and Lena Horne. The Wiz with Stephanie Mills. Okay, that's a classic. Let me tell you something. I bought The Wiz too. So I'll never have to bootleg The Wiz. I bought The Wiz too. You know, and did Quincy Jones write those scores? I think Quincy Jones wrote those scores. Amazing scores. Ease on Down the Road. Got to Believe in Something. Well, got to Believe in Something was from Car Wash. Remember Daddy Rich? Exactly. So, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Stay there. There you go. All right. Sorry about this. I got a lot of things going on and people are not following instructions. So it has to be what it is. Okay. So we got Sound of Music. What about this one? How many people like this one? Some people are kind of in and out. I thought it was great for two people. I thought it was great for Richard Pryor and I thought it was great for Diana Ross. And that's Lady Sings the Blues. So if you watch Lady Sings the Blues, amazing joint. The story of Bird as directed by Clint Eastwood. When I liked Clint Eastwood before he tried to front off on Barack Obama. But I thought that Bird was done really, really well. And there are a couple of other films. One of the ones that inspires me, even to this day, Shawshank Redemption. I do like Shawshank Redemption. I can watch it over and over and over again. What are some of your favorite action films? Think about that. Bilal says, have you been to the mountaintop? You got gray over the past 2 weeks. Yes, I have. Yes, I did, brother. I did not shave yesterday. And I saw a burning bush, Bilal. I saw a burning bush. Actually, Bilal, I'm doing the image. This is my Bilal costume, everybody. Just let the gray grow out. I saw the burning bush. I was in the white sands. I had to take off my sandals and my shoes, Bilal. Yes, indeed. This is called Kick It Back When You Go to Mama's House. Shawshank just watched it. Mahogany. Oh, who put up Mahogany? Satana put. Oh, that's a bad song. Do you know where you're going to? That's a bad song right there, boy. Billy D. Williams with that perm hair. Even though it's 2022, I wouldn't make a joke about Billy D's hair. Because Billy D was a bad man back then. He said, do you know where you're going to? That's how he cued the song. Do you know where you're going to? That's a bad man right there. All right. Let me ask this question. Bilal making jokes. Bilal, what's your favorite science fiction joint? Science fiction. We're going for science fiction. We got a little bit of time left. Your favorite science fiction joint is what? I go with Star Wars. In terms of movie, I go with Star Wars, but I also go with the sci-fi horror film, which is Aliens. Did anybody see Aliens? Star Trek, the original? Yeah, Star Trek had several movies. Star Trek had a series of movies, then they brought in a whole nother crew of Star Trek. You are 100% right. The original, the first movie was pretty good. It was okay. The second one with the Klingons and they were fighting, that's what I really like. You know, with the smashed in heads, with the LeVar Burton smashed in head. I was like, okay. Young Frankenstein. Oh, okay. You going Mel Brooks on this. Bilal going Mel Brooks on this. Check this one out, Bilal. You going Mel Brooks? I'm going Woody Allen. Zelig and Sleeper. Ooh. Take that one. That make your beard go a little bit gray, don't it? I'm talking Zelig and Sleeper. Those are the films we don't want to miss. So look, we're up on our time, brothers and sisters. This was Films That Make You Smile. We're going to come back probably next week with songs that make you smile, or songs that make you think, or songs that make you sad. We're actually going to do conscientious songs as well. Listen, we're going to go. We don't want to be over our time. Black Panther. Okay, you just threw that in there, Sister Tanya. That was the action film. Okay, sorry. See how people act when they think they get all sedity learning Arabic? All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's our show.